Go back to Chopper 6 HD and look live at this airport, still here on the runway. You can see that foam trailing behind the area where that damaged engine is. We've learned now that there were 143 passengers on board, along with 5 crew members. So 148 people in total on board this Boeing 737, which departed from New York's LaGuardia Airport this morning, was headed to Dallas's Love Field, but was diverted to Philadelphia International Airport. We have a phone interview now. Ray, if you can tell me who this is with, please.
Passenger. Matt Tranchin, we're apparently a passenger. Matt Tranchin, he's apparently joining us on the phone. Matt, are you there?
I am.
All right. Thank you for checking in with us. First of all, how are you doing right now?
Shaken up, but alive. So relatively pretty fantastic.
Okay. Well, that's good news. I can imagine how scary it must be. We're going to chat with you while we're looking at some of the pictures that either you or some of the other passengers took from their phones. Tell us exactly what happened. You're on the flight on your way to Dallas, Texas. When did you realize something was terribly wrong, Matt?
Right around the time there was a huge explosion and glass shattering 3 rows ahead of me. That was about the moment when I realized that this was not going to be a normal flight.
And Matt, did the airbags come down? Did all those things they prepare you for happen?
Yeah, they did. Airbags came down. There was obviously a lot of confusion. The plane dipped considerably right afterwards. There was, first confusion and then panic. I was 3 rows behind where the apparently what it looks like had happened is the engine exploded and a shard from the engine shattered the glass over the exit row, row 14, and that injured one of the passengers considerably.
Yeah.
Flight attendants rushed up. There was momentary chaos. Everyone kind of descended on where this hole was. As passengers, we weren't sure if they were trying to cover up the hole, but the plane smelled like smoke. There was ash coming through the ventilation system, and we started dropping.
Scary moments to be sure, Matt. You mentioned the injuries, and we're trying to determine just how many people were injured. So the person that you saw injured, were they sitting in your row, or were they sitting close to you, behind you? How close?
No, they were. Yeah, I was in row 17. They were in row 14. I believe they were sitting in seat 14A, right by the window. Only one person was injured on the flight,
okay.
And that person was taken out of the plane as soon as
Matt,
we landed.
what were the flight crew? What were they instructing you to do, and what happened once the airplane was on the tarmac?
Well, given the circumstances, they were great as kind of an indication of how terrifying it was. Some of the crew couldn't hold back their horror, and some were crying as they looked out through the open window onto the engine. We actually received internet access and texting capability a couple minutes after it happened. And so, I know I was with a colleague of mine. We spent the next 15 minutes before landing saying our goodbyes. You don't want to scare your friends and family, but you also don't want to not say goodbye.
Can you tell us a little bit about yourself, where you're from? Do you have children?
From Dallas, Texas. I'm married, and we have our first child that's going to be born in about 6 weeks. My wife's almost 8 months pregnant.
Can you tell us what was going through your head and your heart at this moment?
That I'd never live to see my son born. That I'd never be able to say goodbye to my wife, say goodbye to my parents. But I am, I am, and I feel really fortunate for that. You always see these things on the news and everything that's going to happen to you, and all you can do now is reassess, reprioritize, and live life to the fullest. I plan to do that.
Absolutely. So Were you heading home to Dallas when this happened, Matt?
I was.
And you obviously have talked to your family, and they know that you're safe and everything's okay?
They do.
Well, that's great. That's great news. Can you tell us about this photo that you took from your phone? Was it taken while you were sitting, obviously, on the tarmac? Because these pictures are obviously incredible, especially the one of that engine. When did you take this picture? Was it just by just looking out your window?
I took those pictures as I was deplaning, which, by the way, is a verb I don't think anyone ever wants to use in the first person. But those were taken as we were all being ushered off the plane.
That's amazing.
Well, Matt, we're so glad that you're okay, that you're going to go home now, kiss your wife, and congratulations in advance on the birth of your baby in just a few weeks.
Yeah, I'm sure it's not the...
Thanks so much. If anyone wants to start a GoFundMe to get Ubers and Lyfts to take us back to Dallas, that would be amazing.
Well, I'm sure you weren't planning on visiting in Philadelphia. We're glad you're here and make the most of your stay. But more importantly, we're glad you're safe. Thank you for checking in by phone. Matt Tranchin, who was on his way to Dallas, Texas, when this emergency landing took place here at Philadelphia International Airport.